David, thanks so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Congratulations on the film.
Thank you.
I actually just watched it this morning. I enjoyed it a great deal. For people who don't know much about Breakpoint right now, tell us a little bit about the film.
Okay, well, you see the picture there. Me and Jeremy Sisto play estranged brothers who are former tennis partners. And Jeremy's sort of a washed-up tennis pro who's looking to make a final run to qualify for the U.S. Open in doubles tennis. And no one will play with him, so he looks to me. I don't really like him, but we figure out a way to come together, start liking each other again, and then we make a pretty cool, run to the Open. And then J.K. Simmons is our dad, and he plays like a very classic, beautiful J.K. role, just the sort of strict but loving dad.
Right.
And then Amy Smart's my love interest, which is awesome because she's been my love interest in my fantasies for about 10 years. And then we got the new introducing Joshua Rush.
He was wonderful.
He's so good.
As the young kid who becomes really attached to your character. One of the things that really made the movie work for me, and I don't know if the movie can work at all if this didn't work, you and Jeremy, the moment you guys came on screen together, because a little bit of time passes in the movie before you're on screen together.
Yeah.
I remember thinking, I don't know if I see these guys as brothers until you're on screen together.
Yeah.
And once you're on screen together, that chemistry just worked. What was the dynamic like between you and Jeremy?
First of all, thank you. I'm so glad to hear that because I agree it would fall apart if no one bought it. I think oddly chemistry is that mysterious thing. We hadn't spent a ton of time together before shooting it. The first scene we shot in the movie was the first scene when the brothers come back and haven't seen each other in 10 years. So in the production schedule, they put that up #1, which I like because I had actually heard some weird things about Jeremy. I wasn't sure I was going to like him.
Because he wrote the film as well.
Yeah, he wrote it, and we did a chemistry read. I got the part, reading with him. But after that, there wasn't a ton of interaction. So I think what ended up happening is by day 2, we realized we were going to be really good friends in real life because I love the guy. So I think that started to infuse things with that brotherly dynamic. And he's the type of guy in real life where I could say anything. I never, ever am concerned about offending him or he me. Like he's literally can't be offended or, his feelings hurt. So
I remember when I first saw the first couple of previews for it, I thought, oh, this is interesting. It's a tennis comedy. But one of the things I really liked once I got through the first act, I realized this isn't a tennis comedy. This is a comedy. Tennis is the background, but this is a human story about this family and something that went terribly wrong in the family, bridges trying to be rebuilt at the same time and all that kind of stuff. As you were reading the script, did you get that impression as well? Or what were your first impressions when you read that script? Usually
when I read a script, it's just sort of a gut reaction and you either like it or you don't. And then I try not to analyze like why I liked it too much or why I didn't. I mean, usually I can tell, and then if my agent's like, read it again, it's actually really good, or read it again, it's terrible, then I'll give it another shot. But I love this movie because, first of all, Gene Hong, the writer, he has such a unique comedic sensibility, so I think there's a real original comedy sense to it. And I think all the best sports movies aren't really about the sports. It's you have to have the deeper layers, otherwise things you don't really care too much about what's going on. So this tennis is sort of a catalyst for a family coming back together, and it's a family that you want to see come back together. So I think you get pretty emotionally engaged right away.
Now, I got to ask this too. How much tennis have you played? Because when I'm watching this thing, it looks, I'm expecting there wasn't a huge visual effects budget for the movie. You guys look good playing tennis. How much tennis have you played?
Thank you. Well, I have been playing since I was 3. So I played a lot of tennis and I loved it. And I honestly, I really have like 2 loves in life, which is acting and tennis. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, so I couldn't believe when I was out there playing and shooting this movie that they had merged. I didn't know it was possible. But Jeremy worked his ass off. He was later to start tennis, but he wrote the script. He's like sort of broke the story 7 years ago.
Really?
Yeah. So he was just playing, and they were trying to. This has been a long time in the making. So Jeremy worked on his game, spent a godly sum of money working on his game, and now, and honestly, I'll be perfectly blunt with you. I kick his ass in real life, but looks so much better on screen. And that's all that counts as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I mean, and it didn't look fake. It didn't look forced. And I remember thinking, like, how's that going to come across? And so, like, your chemistry as brothers, the chemistry as tennis players really worked out as well. You mentioned JK, you mentioned Amy. What was it like working with you? I've been a fan of Amy Smarts for a long time. Obviously, JK. Now, when you guys filmed this, he was not yet Academy Award winner J.K. Simmons, but he is now. What was it like working with those guys?
Well, first I want to say the last two dads I've worked with are J.K. Simmons and Jeffrey Tambor.
Wow.
And so I'm pretty sure I was the last son they had right before their award-winning spree. So clearly I have the magic touch. But second, it's always weird. Everyone thinks you kind of, as an actor, you get used to this stuff. But I don't at all. I love J.K. Simmons in Juno. I remember wanting him to be my dad.
Right.
Because he had that like perfect combo of like toughness but love and that sort of no bullshit quality he brings to things. And the first day of shooting, like you look up, you're like looking at your sides and you're like, all right, let's do a rehearsal. And you look up and JK's just like sitting at, and you're like, this is just such a weird life. You have to get used to it. You're like, it takes a few takes to sort of get over a level of starstruckness for me. And it's sort of the same case with Amy. I mean, I remember pining after her in Friday Night Lights. Things change, Mox. I think that was Ali Larter's line. But anyway, you know what I mean.
Right. I've always wanted the I love you man J.K. Simmons as a dad figure, I think. But there's probably 4 or 5 J.K. Simmons dad roles.
Yeah, not Whiplash.
But, moving beyond this, though, I mean, obviously, you've got a thriving television career right now. What else can we be looking forward to in the future here pretty soon?
Well, it's not so thriving anymore.
Well, you've done a lot of television.
No, I feel confident in TV. No, just, more movies. I have a thing for writing and developing. So that's a long process, but I got sort of switching gears and kind of trying to do stuff from the beginning. We actors kind of get pasted on towards the end when everything has gotten through most of the hurdles.
Right.
So I don't know why. I kind of want to get involved with much more hurdles when you have to make something and get people to buy it and that sort of thing.
Well, listen, congratulations on Breakpoint. I enjoyed it immensely. Thank you so much for coming in, and we can't wait for other people to get a chance to see it.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Dave.
Thank you.